There is a huge problem in this country of only the bad guys having fight in them.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is ready for Trump's impeachment trial. Now, before I get to the clip, I want to remind you of course, what Mitch McConnell is trying to do or tried to do before this. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to propose delay of Trump impeachment trial. Now, a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, it appeared that Mitch McConnell was a little more open to convicting Donald Trump in the Senate, meaning that at the very least he would not be able to run for president again. But ultimately, it really is about holding people accountable and using the only tools available to do so. So the impeachment and conviction of Donald Trump for the incitement of the riot on the Capitol is an obvious. But now, after floating the idea that Mitch McConnell may back the conviction of Trump, he is now, of course, gone back and realized that the majority of his base still supports Donald Trump. In fact, the majority of his base still believe that Donald Trump won the election. That's how far out these voters are. So because of that, of course, Mitch McConnell has now been trying to delay the trial, because the more he delays it, the harder it'll be to convict him. Just pretty much when it comes to anything with Donald Trump, the longer that time moves on, the more and more people forget about it. And I think that's kind of what Mitch McConnell was hoping here. But Chuck Schumer did not budge, to my surprise. In fact, Chuck Schumer came out today and said this. And there's also, as you're going to see, a little slip up near the end. But apart from the little slip up, as you're going to, I think, clearly notice, what he's saying here is exactly right.
Now, as I mentioned, the Senate will also conduct a second impeachment trial for Donald Trump. I've been speaking to the Republican leader about the timing and duration of the trial, but make no mistake, a trial will be held in the United States Senate, and there will be a vote on whether to convict the president. I have spoken to Speaker Pelosi, who informed me that the articles will be delivered to the Senate on Monday. Now, I've heard some of my Republican colleagues argue that this trial would be unconstitutional because Donald Trump is no longer in office, an argument that has been roundly repudiated, debunked by hundreds of constitutional scholars, left, right, and center, and defies basic common sense. It makes no sense whatsoever that a president or any official could commit a heinous crime against our country and then be permitted to resign so as to avoid accountability and a vote to disbar them from future office. It makes no sense. Regardless, the purveyors of this unusual argument are trying to delay the inevitable. The fact is, the House will deliver the article of impeachment to the Senate. The Senate will conduct a trial of the impeachment of Donald Trump. It will be a full trial. It will be a fair trial. But make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
All right. I have to obviously mention here, just to get it out of the way, he said erection. It's not a big deal. It's just a little funny moment, but it's worth mentioning. Now, this is fantastic. They're actually moving ahead as quickly as possible on the impeachment trial. The article being sent to the Senate on Monday. This is exactly what they should be doing. Now, they need 67 votes to convict, meaning you need about 17 Republicans on board. I don't think so. I mean, it would be awesome if they did do that, if there were 17 of those votes. I don't think they exist. I think they understand where their base is, at least right now, and they're not willing to take any bets on the future and assume that this Trump fervor is going to go away. It's going to continue existing, at least in some form. And at this point, these Republicans have to basically continue to appease their completely insane base. And to be, look, I don't want to sound like I'm giving lawmakers a pass here, because honestly, it's on the lawmakers. It's on the Republicans to be forthright with what Trump did, with how horrible the man is, with how horrible, by the way, their own positions are on many things. But this is the issue. A lot of these politicians are in it for themselves. They don't honestly care about the implications of what they do. They just care about self-preservation. So they're going to do whatever they can to stay in the position that they have. And by continuing to support Trump, that is one way for them to try and maintain their own power. Now, it's also worth mentioning here that I think part of the reason this is going on so quickly, this is happening so quickly, is because their lives were at risk. People in Congress, their lives were on the line. So this is why, I mean, if you compare this to the first impeachment of Donald Trump, that took months. This is happening in less than a month. And I think a big part of that is because this was a direct threat on their own lives. At the same time, it's also the very end of Trump's presidency, so there's less of a political calculation around this because he was going to leave anyways. So impeaching him for the obvious incitement of this riot, it just makes total sense from every angle. So good to see that, but also I think pressure from progressives, pressure from the base, and even pressure from the media is playing into this. I watched a bit of Morning Joe this morning, just out of curiosity to see what they're saying right now, and they are hypercritical of Democrats that are right now unwilling to hold Republicans accountable. Essentially saying, I mean, they had Anand Giadardas on.
I actually think there is a huge problem in this country of only the bad guys having fight in them. You don't actually want a society where only the people who want to do harm understand themselves to be in a battle, and the people who actually want to make life better for more people, who want to fight for a multicultural society, who want to advance social progress, those people are weak. To be honest, with all due respect to your previous guest, Senator Durbin, when you asked him the very important question about seditionists in his midst, that was not an answer with a sense of fight that you got back from him. You, a former Republican, are inviting him to expel colleagues who are seditionists. And he says it's a matter for the ethics committee. That's what it looks like when you don't have a sense of fight.
The only way to hold, or the only way to heal, is to hold people accountable. You don't heal by uniting with fascists. So when even mainstream media is pushing this idea that Republicans need to be held accountable, then this is why you see a lot of otherwise moderate or conservative Democratic lawmakers fall in line with the idea of impeaching and hopefully going further to, say, try and expel maybe Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley for also being a part of this entire thing. So we'll see how far this goes, but at the very least, it's good to see that Democrats are pushing for the impeachment trial as soon as possible.